So, how's the time in the band been thus far?
That's phenomenal. It's like the family I never had, you know? You don't know what you're missing in life until you take some risks and try some new things. And this one turned out to be such a huge blessing in disguise. And I couldn't be happier, man. That the family is just strong. There's what, 14 of us rolling down the road at any given time, and we all just love each other and look out for each other. And on top of all of that, we're bringing a great, sort of a service to the people because, the people are just, it's the audience too. It's just like our family. It's just like there's just as much of a part of the show as we are. So it's blessings in every direction.
Dave Moody was telling me, I think last time I interviewed him several months ago about how you got involved with the band. So you tell me, to any of our listeners here in Western Wisconsin, how did it come about that you became a member of Hairball?
Interesting. Dave was actually very fundamental in the whole process. I wasn't too sure about it at the beginning. I was fronting, gosh, I was fronting a band called Love Hate. I was fronting the legendary Sweet. I had my own band Butterside. I was staying very busy. My calendars were full every month. So I wasn't really looking for something new. I got a call from an agent friend of mine, and he told me, "Hey, there's this cover band out of Minnesota." And I said, "Lose my number." And then he went on to explain everything that comes along with it. So that piqued my interest. I flew out for the audition, and then it was really Dave Moody. I was walking on the beach with my mom out in Florida around Christmas time, and he called, and he's a sober brother. We're both fighting that good fight. So we connected on that level, and he explained really what a great outfit it is. And I felt pretty confident that it was a good choice. So they offered me the gig, and I tried it, and I've never been happier about a decision in my entire life. It's just the
So,
best.
so now that you are being a Californian, correct?
Yes, still
Okay,
here.
so okay, good. So you're out on the West Coast, but you're not, but you will obviously be plenty in the upper Midwest with the
Oh my God.
band
Yeah.
two
For
days.
yeah, every week.
Okay, so what do you think of spending extended periods of time now up here in Minnesota, Wisconsin land, where it's cold in the winter, but it's, well, definitely not in the summer.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of decipher where I've been and where I go because we just move so much. A lot of the times I do fly into Minnesota, and then I meet the bus. We get on the bus, and then we roll out to wherever. We've gone as far as Washington and California, San Diego. So yeah, Florida as well. We went down to Daytona for a few weeks. So it's kind of it's we're all over the place. I can't really say that we spend a lot of time in one place. But Minnesota it's growing on me a lot. I love the lakes up there, and it's really just it's the people wherever I go that really decide whether or not I like a place. And you fall in love with every place you go because everywhere the response is just so heartfelt. So I am falling in love with the entire United States all over again, over and over and over again. Every time we step up on that stage, I just fall in love with the cities we're in, the people that are there, because they're just so welcoming. And I think that speaks volumes about what we're doing. As people, we're just giving you everything, and we get it all in return. So. But yeah, they're definitely warming up to Minnesota, whether it's hot or cold. I love the snow. I lived in Tahoe for a while. I was shoveling snow, so I'm not afraid of it. It's awesome.
That's good. That's good. And you're probably figuring out pretty quickly. Well, I'm a big Minnesota sports fan, even though I'm a Wisconsinite. But I keep hearing about athletes that'll come over. They come in as like free agents or whatever, and then they settle. They
Yeah,
love staying around there. I think it's a combination of the people, the general environment of
yeah.
being in this spot. They like it. They like sticking
Yeah,
around here.
I had my first experience. I'd never been to a hockey game before, and Dave and his friends took me out to one there in Minneapolis or in St. Paul, I think it was, right?
Yep.
Uh, yeah, super exciting. I'd love to go to another one. Yeah.
Oh boy. I've actually not been to it. It would be one of the Minnesota Wild games. I'm a Wild fan. I've never been to one. It's like the one of my favorite teams I've never seen, and I got to change that. So,
We'll go
yeah,
together. Where
yeah,
are you exactly?
over in Eau Claire. I'm 90 miles east or 60 miles or whatever. It's an hour and a half east. I got to figure this out somehow. Get over there and see him at some point. But
Got to do it. We'll do it. We'll do it together. I think we've got a hookup.
we'll figure that out for sure and finally see the Wild. Okay, so in your time in Hairball, short time, but what's your favorite moment thus far?
Favorite moment thus far. Oof. That's hard. I think it's just a repeating moment. It's just every time, we roll into a city and the venue is empty and we get up there and we do our sound check and we're so focused on like learning the new material because we're always constantly trying to bring something new to the show. We don't ever want to give the same show twice. But my favorite moment, I think it was probably the first time I stepped out on stage with them because it was just such a huge transformation that first week of January. Before I'd ever done a show with them, my best friend had just had a stroke. My friend Matt Pinfield went into the hospital, so I'm sitting there praying for his life. Los Angeles caught on fire. The whole city was burning. My girlfriend had just moved out from Arkansas. So she's just like freaked out about what's happening in the city. And I have to fly out. And I had laryngitis on top of all of it. I couldn't speak, I couldn't sing. Um, and I think it's really just one big moment compressed. If you have to focus on one little thing, it was just that whole ordeal because I came in under just I think I was stressed out, I was exhausted, I was sick, and all of the guys were just like, don't worry about it. If you can't sing, we're gonna cover for you. We're gonna figure it out. I never experienced that kind of love from a group before. It's just I just felt like they were bending over backwards to make me feel great when I was coming to the table with almost what felt like nothing. And then we got to sound check that first night, and it was a huge arena. The place was full of probably 3,500, maybe more people that night. And they're just singing along to every single song. And I'm backstage trying to get ready. And at sound check, I finally was able to hit one note. And then that led to a pretty damn good first performance with the band. So I think all of those things just kind of made me say, wow, maybe I'm supposed to be here with these guys. And I definitely feel confident saying that now.
You've sung obviously a lot of classic songs given the acts you've performed with over time. Was there ever a point where you first thought, okay, I can essentially take on the role that you have now in Hairball of I can in effect impersonate
Right.
and embody another singer beyond just being a your own singer? What was there ever a point in your career where you realized I can do this?
I think it's probably dawning on me now. The more and more I work with these guys, and the more supportive that they are, because I know there's been moments where I haven't quite done a character correctly or whatever, and they're just so supportive and they just tell me I'm doing great because they see how hard I'm working and they know it's going to get to where we want it to be. But it's definitely been it's something to wrap your head around when like I've joined Steven Adler's band and they're you're trying to fill the shoes of Axl Rose. And Stephen was very encouraging on, be yourself, be yourself. And so there was that. And then there's also I sang for Sweet, another legendary band, and you're trying to fill the shoes of Brian, which it's impossible to fill those shoes. So it's like, is that more of a cover band than this one? This is more musical theater. This kind of gives me the opportunity to just completely take myself off of the table and represent try to live in the skin of these legendary artists every night um coming out on stage. So to come back full circle to the question, um it's exciting to like, I mean, right now I'm working on like the David Lee Roth moves, and trying to figure out like I'm considering taking like jujitsu or karate or something to really get the moves down. And I think it's just going to feed into, I haven't given up on my original band. Butter Side is still something I hold very dear to myself, and I still see myself taking that to a very, very, very top tier level. But I think this will all feed into just my frontman abilities when it comes back to being myself. But at this point, there's great joy in trying to replicate what these heroes and legends have done, and to see the reactions of the fans and get some good feedback about what I'm doing as those characters is just again another blessing.
Saw on the website Steve Perry is the one that you most like to play. What do you like about that?
Uh, I think I'd like driven up to San Francisco at one point, and there was this band that had me fill in to be Steve Perry. And I remember it being so challenging just because I didn't focus on it a lot. It was just like something I was like, all right, I'm singing some Journey songs this weekend. And okay, yeah, I can't hit that note. I can't do this. But who cares? It's just for one show or whatever. I get my paycheck and I go home. But really trying to live up to the level we do it with Hairball, the more you practice it, of course, the more you find out that you can do it. So it's just been that's now one of my most comfortable characters. It's like it's the one I don't stress out about anymore because it's interesting. Again, you apply yourself. You never know you're going to be good at something. If you keep practicing, you can do anything, really. There might be a little pinch of like something you were born with, but I never thought I was born to sing like Steve Perry. But then you try and you try and you practice and you practice. And I just know how much joy those songs brought to me as a kid growing up. Journey is just that stuff you can sing along. Everybody sings along to it. If you're a Slipknot fan, you're still gonna know Journey songs. If you're a Madonna fan, you still know Journey songs. If you're Prince, you ripped off Journey songs. So that's just the coolest thing ever. And then to find like, okay, here's my chance to show off a note because I know I can hit it now. And then you're like, you know what? The crowd, I can feel them wanting to sing it more than me. So let's just hold the microphone out and you get to hear them singing it.
Mhm.
So great, just with all the characters. But yeah, Steve Perry was the one that I was nervous about it in the audition. I couldn't hit the notes. I didn't even think I hit the notes correctly, and I was like, oh, I kind of blew that one. And then to find that that's really one of my more comfortable characters is it's just awesome. Another blessing.
So how do you know then, like beyond hitting the particular notes, but for any of us that listen to and will sing along with Journey songs and the Steve Perry solo songs, how do you either affect your voice or take a certain approach where okay, I'm now kind of channeling his technique, his tone, his style. So like kind of unlocking how do you sing like Steve Perry versus just singing along to a Journey song?
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of help from upstairs. I think, definitely. I think, but with anything, like anything in life, if you throw yourself at it, showing up is 90% of it. So just show up and give it your best. But I definitely, I did the work. I had a vocal coach, Ron Anderson. He taught, believe it or not, he taught Pavarotti. He gave Elvis Presley a lesson at one point. But he also was he was the coach for Chris Cornell and Axl Rose, Miles Kennedy, Scott Weiland, all of my heroes. He taught how to sing and how to preserve their voices. So I still every day I'll do about an hour of those technique lessons because we recorded those. So I'm still doing those as warm ups and warm downs. So it's just like my technique is just completely solid, and then on top of that, now learning how to you just kind of learn how to sound. It's funny because if you start to make fun of the characters you're portraying, you'll find yourself actually sounding like them. I was just doing Vince Neil the other night, and if you take the stress off of like hitting the note and you actually just try to make fun of them for a second, somehow
Mhm.
their voices come out, kind of like comedians. They make fun of certain people, and you wouldn't think it's funny because they're like, I mean, take Donald Trump, for instance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's serious. He's up there as our president, but the second you make fun of him, it's hilarious to
Mhm.
listen to his voice. But you actually, if you sound like him, um, it's just bizarre to finally like, yeah, it's really interesting to try to throw another man's tone on top of the technique, but the technique is definitely behind every tone. So yeah, there's a lot of homework that went into getting it to the point that you see it on stage with Hairball.
It's kind of fascinating effect, but it does kind of make sense if you think of it a certain way. Like everything else sort of comes around from the familiarity of that and just knowing all of that. That's really cool.
I mean, it's just like you're stepping up on the mic and you bring this certain energy as an interviewer or as a radio personality. Radio personality people they blow my mind because you guys, as soon as I get on the phone with you, like I can come into an interview and I'll be just like, oh my God, do I have the energy to do this? And then a good interviewer comes in with this amazing energy and this positive feeling. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as a singer. You walk out there and it's like, I know my job is to do exactly what you're doing as an interview. You bring the energy, you make the artist, we make the audience feel like it's time. It's time for us to celebrate life. And then there you have it. And that brings 99% of the show to life, just
Right.
like here with you.
It's the stage, in whether it's one to one or hundreds of thousands of people. It's the
Yeah, and
stage.
yeah, and to be honest, one on one is, I think, a little bit more that nerve wracking than
Mhm.
I'm way more comfortable with 10,000 people in front of me than I am singing to two or three. It's like, uh,
Yeah, that definitely the case because they get that exact response. What is the favorite song you've been doing thus far, and is there another one that you're hoping to do with Hairball?
um, just because David Lee Roth is new to me, so right now that's kind of like where my um, the other cool thing about, of course, with Hairball is, you listen to these songs, you hear them in the background, you hear them on the radio, you hear them at the grocery store all the time, but like, do you really sink in and become a true fan of the music? And I've always, like, as a musician, I've always felt like I got to keep my mouth shut when people start talking about how excited they are about a certain band. They know every lyric, they know every song, they know which album, what song was on, they remember where they were when they bought it. They remember every video, what the guy was wearing when this video came out, or that concert or whatever. And you start to feel like, God, am I really a fan of music? Because I get so absorbed in, like, being the artist. But with Hairball, you have to, again, cut yourself off, bye bye ego, and completely absorb everything that artist was. So presently, I've had the joy of rediscovering all of the Van Halen albums. I'm going back into that. And like, I was never really a big Eddie Van Halen fan. And like, why? How could you not be? And like, this has forced me to, like, kind of do that homework. So presently, David Lee Roth is on my roster of, like, probably the top, the guy that gives me the most excitement. Also because his voice is so different from mine, the screams and all the weird stuff he does, and then as a performer as well. So that's really got my attention right now, and it's just so great to go in and really listen to Van Halen all over again, and just it's like experiencing it all over again for the first time. Um, and just becoming a true fan of the music, because you have to be in order to perform these songs like we do. You have to be a fan first.
How does working with some pretty significant names, Steven Adler, you come across Lemmy, of course, you've been in Sweet, but
Yeah,
you crossed paths with a lot of pretty significant
yeah.
figures. How does that inform working in Hairball, if at all? How does that affect how you then work with the band that's trying to do similar emulations of these legendary acts?
Um, I think it's brought me really to it's there's I have I'm at ease. It's like I don't think I'm it's just really made me mature as an artist. I think uh because I remember meeting Slash for the first time and just being so kind of a little nervous, getting on stage with him and being just, it was all, he was the main character, you know what I mean? He was the main character up there.
Mhm.
And me trying to, like, live up to this place or get inside of some sort of space where he was. Um, and then working with Steven again, that brought me I think what I'm getting at is that it's we're all the same. We're out there trying to give an audience. I think it's all about the audience. These guys, anybody who from Slash to Elton John to Freddie Mercury to any of these guys, I think it's our duty. I think we were born to walk out on that stage and just and not let the people down. People are there to forget about their problems. They're there to forget about war and politics and bills and everything else. Um, so I think I've just found a kind of a harmony as far as, like, all of the celebrities or people that I might have worked with. I feel like they've definitely built my confidence up enough to work with guys as good as you know, I mean, the guys in Hairball are just as much rock stars to me as any celebrity that's ever lived. And they treat me the same way. So if that explains
It
that.
does. It does. It's a certain way. It's an affectation of how you then channel that to go on to this next audience and this next audience, and how you
Yeah.
build all those influences that come in to bring them
Yeah,
back
I
out.
mean, it's just it's you you know, we're playing for audiences that are you know, gigantic every evening, and I've seen myself with bands that are legendary singing for legendary acts, and they're struggling to fill rooms. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
definitely, Hairball is an anomaly, and it's just, again, so blessed, so grateful to have found something that's just so unique, because no other cover band does something on this level. So I think it's beyond a cover band. I think it's really just, it's a bunch of rock stars that have agreed that, like, let's do this because this is what these people want and they expect that from us, so let's deliver it. Not to say that we're not working on some original material. We are going to go into the studio and release some original Hairball stuff. So there's, again, levels above what we are doing now, we are going to take it to.
Very cool. Well, last question before I let you go. For anyone watching this who's around here in Western Wisconsin, but anyone watching this on on YouTube or however, so they're in another area and they're going to see a Hairball show soon. So what are we going to see on these summer shows?
Again, you won't get the same show twice. We are constantly beating each other up to try new things, and everybody's got a favorite song that they want to do, or we have a new character that we want to bring out. You never know what you're going to get. We're constantly introducing new characters. So if you saw us last year, you're not going to see the same show again. Like, you might get to one of the same bands or same artists that you saw the last time, but you're not going to get the same song. We're vigilant in checking the set list from the last time we were in that city, and we make sure we don't do the same thing twice. So you're always getting something brand new.
That's
And we're
really
just, and all of
nice.
us are just getting better at our jobs. The pyro's getting better, the LEDs are getting better. So the show just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So just, if you were blown away last time, you're going to be even more blown away this time. Bring your friends so you can watch their expressions on their faces explode like yours did the first time when you saw Hairball.
Very good. Well, it's going to be a great show then, July 10th, Northern Wisconsin State Fair up in Chippewa Falls, north of here where I'm at. Patrick, awesome to talk to you. Welcome to the
Anthony,
band.
thanks, man.
You're welcome. Have a great time on this tour and have a great time up in Chippewa Falls when you come by.
I hope we see you there.
All right, sounds good. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao.